Okay, so this question's for the mind, clearly. How do we live in presence? And you really got to inquire into this question because it's beneficial to inquire and ask who's asking how to live in presence. It's the human self. Okay, it's the human self. Why is it asking to live in, how do I live in presence? Because it's probably suffering its state. Because there's a lack of presence, right? Something that's imbalanced. And then we've been told by spiritual people and also maybe our own previous experience, we know when the mind switched off and the sensations and all that, when that's calmed down, something's aware of just this vibrational presence or peace. And so something's like, damn, I just want to stay in that. That was a good deal. When I was in that, I didn't have any worries about anything. Like my problems were still there maybe somewhere, I don't know, because I wasn't paying attention to them. It's almost like that time when I first did magic mushrooms in Thailand, maybe 12 years ago. Man, it was such a good experience. I was in ecstasy, like on a level that like I couldn't take it. I was gonna try to turn the video on to film it, and I'm like, oh, it's just too bad. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything. You can't exist like that for long. Okay. Second time I did mushrooms, I realized, I was like, whoa, this is a real teacher here. I need to like write down my problems, questions. So I wrote it down, and guess what? My mind was gone. I couldn't find my mind to like ask the questions. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. Just remove the mind. Anyway. So that's presence. Now, there's different degrees and intensity of presence, obviously, because we couldn't exist, like I said, if we were in the state that I was in the first time I did the medicine. But our deeper nature through evolution, anybody that's watching this channel or in some other spiritual channels, something's already awakened you. You know. The countdown of the human self is on. It's like, I'm done with that. I'm still enjoying the human self. Human self is cool. I'm actually grateful for it because it's the car that consciousness is driving around. Like, I get to see this and that. And I see I see presence in another form, and now we're gonna pretend to talk to each other. And if it's a girl, it's even more fun because then that's duality, and she has different biology than me, and so it's great. I made a video about like don't curse the mind. We wouldn't have any experience without the mind or the body. But we want to know something realizes, but you know what, this if that's all I know is the human self, human show, man, it's not worth it. It was for a while, but you get to where it's not anymore. And then those beings become spiritual aspirants, sadhakas, and they start wanting to find that space inside that's more chill and quiet and doesn't have all these problems. So then they say, well, how do you live as presence? So I made a short video saying that the mind, the human self, can't. That's the one asking the question, which is cool, it gets things going, but that can't live as presence. Not with its own ideas and nature. It's not something the human self can grasp. The human self can't ask the question, how can I live as presence, and then get a prescription wrote to it, and then follow the prescription and says, oh, I'm in presence now. It's like the human self gets the presence, now I'm in presence. No, there's different aspects to this pure consciousness that we are. So you can say there's the presence, then there's the manifestation, the human form. For a while, we're trained and conditioned to identify so deeply with the human form, a divine mistake, by the way. That means a good mistake. We're so identified with that even when we bring spirituality into the mix, it's still the human self trying to get it. Through evolution, through grace, we realize, wait a minute, actually, this state of presence, this I'm consciousness is multi-aspected when it manifests. The presence is already a state that exists within me. This is important. This already exists. Is there a way, maybe can I just pay attention a little bit to that? I'm just going to pay attention to the presence because it's there. God, can you help me pay attention to this presence? I can do it for a few seconds and then my mind wants to think about something else. That's cool though. That's cool. I have forever to do this, but I want to do it. I want to get acquainted with this presence more. Can you help me with that? See, utilize prayer. Don't be a non-dual. I don't need prayer. I don't need gurus. Okay. Utilize prayer. It helps get you focused. And some power comes because prayer is surrender. It's humility. Space opens up. And then your higher nature can guide you into this presence. So then you start to pay attention to the presence. And then what happens? That medicinal presence starts to bleed through into the human construct self. The vibration of that presence starts to penetrate and imbibe the mind. It's like holding the mind, like the mind and the emotions and the physical body now is swimming in this presence now. It's always been swimming in it, but we didn't know it because we're just focused on the swimmer. It's like, what's the swimmer swimming in? That's the present. Okay, I want to think about that. And then your human self becomes aware, like it's being housed in this presence. That awareness is what gives this the side effect of that awareness or of that medicine is you start to feel higher level feelings or emotions or realizations. Something feels nice. I want more of it. It feels good because we're all addicts in the end. So we want more of that. So how do you live in presence? That's what you do. You pay attention. You become aware that state exists in you, first of all. How do you do that? There's no one prescription for that. The fact that you're open and you want that, and then you listen with an open heart and humility to videos or books or teachers that are pointing to that, that's going to activate that in you that you already know. Okay, now, for the people that want to go deeper into presence, because there's different levels of evolution. Nobody's better than somebody. There's just different levels of evolution. You got different apples on a tree, and some are more ripe, and then some are less ripe, and some are falling. What is the apple that fell? The awakened apple? Like, is that a better apple than the one? No, it's like all part of the game. The consciousness is beyond all the form that it took as apples. So same with human beings. So don't let the ego come in and think you're inferior to somebody else or superior. Duality, there's both. How do you go deeper into presence? You pay attention to the presence more. That's what you do. You pay attention to it more. And when you fall out of it, seemingly, you ask God, help me pay attention more. Everybody's in presence all the time. Not everybody pays much attention to it. Presence is here right now. As I'm speaking, as you're listening, the presence is there right now. It's just there. The listening and the speaking is happening inside of the presence. If there was no presence, no spaciousness, no formlessness, no non-dual nature, then there couldn't be any speaking or listening, because the speaking and listening needs some vehicle, some space to exist in. Well, the presence is the space. And the more we pay attention or get acquainted with this presence, the better the happenings of our karmic human self it's more fulfilling, it's more successful, it's more efficient, because we become aware of the true nature, not just the superficial human nature. We become aware of the true nature, which then it just makes the human nature more efficient. So you don't need to worry about manifesting and all that stuff. You become aware of your true nature, and you who cares about the manifestation? Manifestation takes care of itself. Like, whatever the universe wants to give you, this is the best. Whether it be $1 million or it be $10. It has its reasons. You have full trust in that. So that's the irony. Everyone's always in presence, but they're not paying attention to it. So this is about paying attention to it. this is a reminder to pay attention to it. If you feel like it's too hard, if there's too much imbalance in your mental and emotional bodies, physical bodies, then we need to look at things on a practical level. That's why I made the other two channels. Beyond the Alchemy, which deals with semen retention or preserving your sexual energy if you're a woman, and the other channel is True Mental Health, lifestyle habits and things that help us get aligned with nature, because we're under the laws of nature. Don't be a non-dualo, nothing exists, laws, the human self is under certain laws. So when we get aligned, when we align ourselves with these laws and we're in flow with nature, then the spiritual practice becomes easier. That's why I made these channels. We need to deal with practical level and spiritual level, and they're equally important as long as we're in this human form. That will help you experience a state of presence easier and help you be able to bring your attention back to it easier. Because when the mind's more purified, then it's not like such a problem. It's not like the little kid that you tell the little kid, like, come in, it's time to go to bed, and he throws a tantrum. This is what the mind does when we try to ask it to come into presence. Throws tantrums, and it's like too much work. So then the mom just gives the kid a Xanax. Now he'll cooperate. I met a girl that did that. She didn't want to do it, but she just couldn't take it, So when we're purifying, when we're living purifying healthy lifestyle habits, it makes the mind, it makes the whiny kid not so whiny, and then he cooperates. Okay, Johnny, come inside. Okay. That was easy. Yeah, I don't have children. It's not my destiny. I don't know if I'd be good at it. I'd just be like, come in. He don't want to come in. I might just leave him out there. I don't know. All right, have a good day.